Okay, so we've looked at the 1850s householders by civil parish, the 1864 to 1913 births, that's the civil births, the 1901 and 1911 households, and now I want to look at the last of these maps, and this is Bulger in 1659. Let's just bring it up and show you what it looks like. Okay, first of all, you'll notice this is like the Griffiths map. This is a Google GeoChart, not a Google map. So it's not zoomable and it's not clickable. And that's quite deliberate because the information on which this map is based um, just won't stand up to that level of detailed scrutiny, put it like that. Um, you can see, first of all, in 1659, they're still in the same area, Wexford, South Kilkenny. Um, what this is a representation of the baronies. And the baronies are much bigger than the parishes and way bigger than district electoral divisions, bigger again even than poor law unions. So these are very big geographic areas. The listings were done in 1659 as part of a head count to see who would fight for who would fight against the land expropriations that were going to take place and who would be in favor of them. So there were lists of how the principal Irish names, the principal Scottish names, principal English names in a barony with the numbers of households. So it's a very rough head count. Okay, it hasn't survived for quite a few places. It hasn't survived for parts of uh, Cavan, Galway, Mayo, Tyrone, parts of County Cork. So it's not complete for the entire island the way the other record sets are. That's one flaw. It's done in different ways in different places. So, for example, in Fermanagh, it's groups of parishes rather than baronies. So it's inconsistent even internally. And then the way the surnames are spelt is just mind-bogglingly uh, elastic. The same surname in different counties can be completely different. Um, okay, so why is it here? Well, it has one unassailable virtue. It exists, and nothing like it exists for 17th century Ireland. It's if you go looking at this, I would not use this as the basis of a genealogy. It's interesting in terms of surname studies, and it's interesting as well to look at the original. The original was published by the Irish Manuscripts Commission and republished again recently, and there's a copy available on the Irish Manuscript Commission website. The link is there, and there's another good plain transcription um, here. Okay, okay, it's obviously not here anymore. um, there was a transcription. If you go to archive.com, you'll be able to get the transcription that they used, which is what I used as the basis of this. As I say, it's interesting to look at. It's of all of the maps, of the six or so maps that the site offers you. This is the one that I have the most qualms about, and I urge you to have qualms too when you look at it. Okay, thanks very much for listening. Okay, there are some other maps on the site that it's worth mentioning as well. They're not surname maps like this, but they are very useful ways of getting at the records. The easiest way to get at them is through the place name section, and you see over this sidebar here. I talked about this in the first video. The place names. These are maps which use the place names. So the first one there is civil parish maps. As I explained before, civil parishes are the basic administrative geographical units of 19th century Ireland, 18th century Ireland, and all of the tax records, the locational records, the estate records are all organised by civil parish. So that's why they're so important. You can click on a parish here. So we'll take Donegal in the northwest. You get a map of the parishes. Hold your mouse over the parish, and you'll get the name. There's a list of them here, an alphabetical list. So let's pick Tullaghobegly, which we just saw there. All right, and this, as you might remember, this is the basic locational records dashboard for everything to do with Tullaghobegly. Again, just to remind you, you can go from here to the Ordnance Survey map. You can go to the very useful map on townlands.ie. You can go to the contemporary Google map. You can go from the place names. You can go to the Griffiths mid-19th century records for that area, the 1901 census, the 1911 census. You can get listings of the church records, estate records, general register office records, and so on. This is part of the paying section of the site, so you get 5 goes at something like this before you have to wait another 24 hours or subscribe. Down in the right hand corner of the page is a map showing where Tullaghobegly is in the county of Donegal and what parishes surround it. So Temple Crone, Garton, and Raymond O'Doney, and that's done up here in a little table as well. Okay, so that's that's actually, when I'm using the site, this is the tool I use most often to find what records there are for a place that I'm doing research. Also useful and very popular is this, and again, this is Catholic parishes, so totally different to the civil parishes, but because pre-1864 records are so sparse, because the Catholic records are basically the only direct records of the vast majority of the population before 1864, it's very important to know what parishes are which and which parishes adjoin each other. And that's the basic reasoning behind this map. This is County Cavan, and you can see okay, if there are variant names, so Staghall and Drumlane, they'll come up when you hold your mouse over. So Anna, Killuchter, Belturbet. This is one of the things about Catholic parishes, because they weren't official state denominations. They had local names, they had local variants. They might be called something different now. You need to take these maps with a pinch of salt, okay? The boundaries of Catholic parishes were much more fluid than the civil parishes. The civil parishes were used for taxation, so they had to have a legal footing. There was no secular legal footing for Catholic parish boundaries. So they were fluid. They took in parts of one civil parish, part of another civil parish, two or three small civil parishes, and then part of another one. And there is no definitive listing of which townlands were in which civil parish. The only mid-19th century or close to mid-19th century source is Lewis's Topographical Dictionary, which says which Catholic parishes a civil parish includes, or which Catholic parishes are included, or parts of a civil Catholic parish cover parts of the civil parish, but it doesn't say which parts. So this is pretty much a stab at it. These are not, again, 100% geographically accurate. The main aim of this in doing them was to give a sense of which parish was where in relation to its neighbours. Because one of the problems about doing research on these records is, because the boundaries were so fluid, somebody who you think might be in one parish is actually being recorded in the adjoining parish. So it's good to know what the adjoining parishes are. And again, if you click on the parish itself, so say Knockbride, you get all known copies of records. That's known by me, okay? One of the reasons for this is that there are copies of some records that were missed by one institution and they're there for another one. And it's a good idea to have an overview so you know what you're dealing with, that you're not missing something. So for example, here you can see The National Library of Ireland, they're the ones that are on the website on registers.nli.ie and transcribed by ancestry and find my past. They go from 1835 to 1879. So this 1880 cutoff I was talking about. The Public Record Office of Northern Ireland have a separate microfilm they've done themselves, and you can see they come from 1835 to 1879. And there's a slight difference there. They seem to have 2 years more marriage records than the National Library. Okay, their burial records are the same. If you look at this, the LDS, the Mormon Family History Library, has identical records to the National Library of Ireland. And the very simple reason for that is that they are copies of the National Library of Ireland microfilms. And again, one of the things I try to do is give an exact location, and if there's an online catalogue, give a link to it. And then finally, I mentioned the Roots Ireland. They have a non-image transcript, so they start again in 1835, so that's good prima facie evidence that there is nothing before 1835, but they come right up to 1920. So 1835 to 1920. The burials, they seem to have missed the earlier burial register, but they have burials from 1864 up to 1895. So again, you can see the usefulness of a listing like this. If you have somebody who was buried in Knockbride in 1880 or 1885, the only place you're going to find a listing is on the Cavan genealogy site on rootsireland.ie. If you're looking for a burial for somebody between 1835 and 1860, you won't get it there. You'll get it on the National Library or on the Find My Past transcript. So again, the maps are a good shortcut, quick and easy way to get at the listings of the records. One of the things I've done as well with these listings is this thing here. Click for a listing of place names in this parish. That's being a bit optimistic, okay? Click here for a listing of place names that are probably in this parish, is what it should say. Okay, so in this case, Knockbride and is identical to the civil parish of Knockbride. As it says here, the RC parish is coextensive with that of the established church. So the civil parish and the Catholic parish are identical in this case. But that is quite unusual. All right. The other one of the three maps is the Poor Law Union map. And again, I mentioned this when I was talking about birth records. The Poor Law Unions are how the birth, marriage, and death, the state records of birth, marriage, and death are organized. So it's a good idea to have in your mind's eye an idea of where they are. These are the names you'll see on irishgenealogy.ie on the wonderful transcriptions and images that they have there. So it's a good idea to know where they are. And again, they're clicked through. If you click on Castlereagh there, you'll get a list of all the place names in the Poor Law Union of Castlereagh, all the civil parishes that it includes, all the sub-registrars districts that you can use to identify place names in the birth records. And again, it's I think one of the things about all of these maps is that when something is visual, when you can see it in a picture, it's much easier to remember and to understand, at least for me. And that's really the thinking behind all of the maps on the site. Again, thanks very much for listening.